If you are here today, it is because you're researching the EB-2 National Interest Waiver. You want to apply to obtain the green card via the EB-2, and you're wondering, how many citations do I need to have in order to qualify for the EB-2 National Interest Waiver? So today, we're going to discuss exactly that. One of the most common questions that we get, Mr. Colombo, how many citations do I need in order to qualify for the EB-2? And I'm going to give you that answer today. But first, let's discuss a little bit of what is an EB-2 National Interest Waiver application and why citations may or may not be important. So the EB-2 National Interest Waiver is an application for a green card. If you are a professional and you're looking to apply and obtain a green card directly with U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, the EB-2 is one of the fastest routes to a green card and one of the specialties that we have here at Colombo and Heard. But let's get into the issue of citations, because that is one of the hot topics that we are going to be covering today, and why certain people think that that is extremely important. This is one of the most important topics, and I think probably on a weekly basis, we get dozens and dozens of potential clients asking the same questions and coming to us with rejections from other law firms or other attorneys where they are told that they will not accept their case because they don't have enough citations or publications, or they have no citations at all, and so those attorneys and those law firms will not accept their EB-2 National Interest Waiver cases. That is a common trend, and it is something that if you search the internet, you're going to get different opinions, you're going to get different information. And as we know, the internet has a lot of very good information, and it has some information that is either outdated or not correct. What we're going to talk about today is what the requirements are and what the reality is regarding those citations. So first, let's talk about what some of the basic requirements of the EB-2 NIW are, and specifically where citations may or may not become an issue. So first of all, in order for you to qualify for the EB-2 National Interest Waiver, you're going to have a certain level of education and experience. Most applicants are going to have to show that they have a bachelor's degree or higher. It could be a master's or a doctorate. If you only have a bachelor's, you will need to show that you have 5 years of post-degree progressive experience in the field. So 5 years bachelor's degree or a master's and a PhD or a doctorate. But you're also going to have to show that your endeavor, that what you wish to do to contribute as a professional in the U.S. is something that will have national importance. So if we look at the prongs or the requirements of the EB-2 NIW when it gets into the national interest part, there's two parts that are very important. The proposed endeavor has to have substantial merit, so your proposal has to have substantial merit and be of national importance on the one hand, and on the other hand, you as the applicant, you must be well positioned to advance that proposal or that endeavor. So those two prongs or requirements are important in order for you to win your NIW case. So where do citations become an issue? And how many do you need? I'm going to give you the answer. Do you know how many citations you need? 0. None. The regulations for the EB-2 NIW do not require that you have any citations in order for you to win or get your EB-2 NIW case approved. It is not a legal requirement. It is just one piece of evidence that you can use in order to satisfy some of the requirements of the EB-2. Typically, citations or publications are used to show that you are well positioned to advance that endeavor. So you can use it in order to show that you have been recognized in the field by your peers through your research and your publications. You can use it in order to satisfy different parts of the well-positioned and national importance requirements of the EB-2. But that's only one piece of evidence. There's other types of evidence that you can use. And in fact, if we take the wording directly from U.S. immigration as to what they will consider for this requirement, you can see a list of other ways that you can satisfy the well-positioned or nationally important portions of the EB-2 without having a single citation, okay? So what are those alternative forms of evidence? You can see right here, this is language directly from USCIS. This is from, for example, an RFE, a request for evidence that immigration may issue, but that this is something that is publicly available. And they will say that USCIS will consider this type of evidence, including but not limited to, which means it can be other types of evidence, the following. And you see right here on the screen a list of information that they will consider. And right there, you can see that published articles and media reports, that's one type of evidence. And you can have citations as part of that. But you can also have many other types of evidence. You can have patents, you can have trademarks, you can show your professional achievements, the impact of your work, letters of recommendation, media coverage, leadership roles that you have had in different organizations. So those letters of recommendation, it can be expert letters, different types of evidence for you to establish that you are well positioned in order to advance the proposal that you intend to do in the US. So the answer to that question of how many citations you need is right there. Immigration tells you right there that that is not the only type of evidence that you can use. You do not need a single citation in order to qualify for the EB-2 NIW. Now let's talk about why a lot of folks come to us and they say, this other attorney, this other law firm said no to me. Why does that happen? Before we get into that, if you enjoy this information and you want to stay abreast of everything that is happening with the EB-2 NIW or other types of self-sponsor immigration, you can subscribe down here to our channel, and we try to give you informative information on a weekly or monthly basis. You can subscribe, and also you will get the notifications that there's been an upload of another important topic in the EB-2 world. But why do some of these attorneys or some of these firms do that? It's not because they're making a mistake necessarily. There's certain attorneys or law firms that handle more researchers and scientists that are more focused on publications and that type of evidence. So they're used to that kind of clientele, and that's what they focus on, and they use that approach in order to substantiate their cases. That's not necessarily a mistake, but those tend to be, I don't want to say easier cases, but perhaps there's more templates that are used and a simpler way to present the NIW. But the NIW has changed significantly since the Danasar decision, and USCIS is much more open to other types of evidence. So before Danasar, publications were very popular. Post Danasar, we see immigration being more flexible in the type of evidence that they will accept. So if you have experienced that, either a rejection from other attorneys, or you are discouraged if you're searching online and you see that publications is the only way to win your NIW case, that is incorrect. We win cases every single day where clients have 0 citations. So don't be discouraged if you don't have it. You may be in a field where publications or citations are not common. You may be in a field like AI, for example, that hasn't been around for too long, and there's not going to be a lot of citations or a lot of publications. So don't be discouraged if you don't have citations. We are happy to analyze your case to see if you qualify for the EB-2 NIW. Down here you have the link where you can submit your information, and we will do an analysis completely free to see if you can pursue an EB-2 NIW. Like always, it is a pleasure to share this kind of information with you, and we'll see you again.